Hi, I'm Dennis from Plain Truth Ministry. Welcome to Friday in the Word. Today I want to look at a passage from Paul's letter to the Galatians, chapter 6, verses 1 through 3. The passage reads, "Brethren, if a man is overtaken in any trespass, you who are spiritual restore such a one in a spirit of gentleness, considering yourself, lest you also be tempted. Bear one another's burdens, and so fulfill the law of Christ." The law of Christ that Paul speaks of here is Christ's second commandment to us, to love our neighbors as ourselves. When we look at this passage, Paul's considering our reaction to seeing a brother in Christ falling into sin. And how do we react to that? And how do we help that brother in sin? Because if we had fallen into sin, as Paul says, certainly we would want help from someone else if we felt like we couldn't overcome that sin on our own. We're asked to be that person in this passage who is helping another. As we do that, we have to consider what we're looking at, consider the sin. Our heart for our brother, our love for our brother, wants us to jump in and pull him away from that sin and back to where he needs to be. However, Paul cautions us to be careful as we look at that sin. While we want to take that action for our brother, we may not be best suited to do that. Consider this example. Suppose you're a recovering alcoholic and a brother in Christ calls you from a bar. He's drunk. He wants you to come and get him and help him. While your first response is, yes, I want to go help pull him out of that sin and help my brother, I may not be the best person to go do that because I may be tempted when I step foot into the bar. So we have to think about that as we're trying to help. It's hard to help others when we struggle to help ourselves, when we may put ourselves in a bad situation as we are trying to help others. We want to do all we can, but we have to be smart about it as well. In that case, we might call another person, another trusted brother in Christ, and say, hey, let's go together and get our friend. I'm humble enough to think I'm not strong enough to take care of that myself, that I may be tempted, but we need to help our friend. So come with me and let's pull him out of there and pull him away from sin. Paul also says in these verses to bear one another's burdens. We're given strength through the grace of God to handle most of our burdens most of the time. We all have those. However, some things come up from time to time that go beyond what we're regularly taking care of and can be difficult to handle all on our own. If we see a brother in that situation, if sin has created that extra burden on him, that's taking away from his ability to take care of everything else around him, the sin is swallowing him up. Sorry about that. Then we as a brother in Christ need to find ways to take a part of that load off of him. Now, that may be taking care of some of his needs around him as he tries to overcome the sin. It may be finding ways to be beside him as he goes through the sin. Whatever that may be, whatever we can put in place to strengthen that brother as he fights that sin and overcomes that sin, whatever we can take off of his plate so he can focus on getting back into his relationship with God, that's where we should be. These are tough love elements, but these are real love elements. Thank you for being with me today. I look forward to talking to you again next Friday, which is Good Friday. God bless.